This is Vassily Nebenzya. You might remember Vassily from such memes as this one. Propagated mostly by Morgoth's review. Morgoth was incredibly taken with this. He loved it. He loved it so much. Not only did he plaster it over his social media multiple times, I believe. He essentially built an essay around it and then turned that essay into a YouTube video. And it was basically built on this pretext. And again, this is propaganda. What he does, it's the clever frame holding. It's the NLP nudge unit shit. It tars Ukraine. It tars the defense of Ukraine with everything his audience it finds, oh my god, cringe, like, because that is basically stock in trade of the dissident right, essentially. But it is very effective. I've talked about this at length before. It's nudge unit shit. It's framing techniques. And in this, presented here, you've got Lammy being David Lammy. He is a fucking moron. Yeah, whatever, we get it. And you've got Vassily Nebenzya. But you see, what he's done there is he's just taken a photograph of Vassily Nebenzya and he's like, he's put that in there. So it's kind of like, it's a fake reaction. I actually did a video on this at the time. It's a fake reaction. So it's like Lammy is off running his mouth and doing the usual crap. And Vassily Nebenzya represents the dissident right. That's the key point here, is that dissident right represents the dissident right. That's the key point over this. And in fact, those the screenshots that I made where no Russian call me a gammon and neutral Morgoth loves the foot and comment, and that same commenter, he came back for the double tap because he got the love icon. I mean, that is the fucking money shot for the dissident right parasocial bros. He got the Morgoth love icon for saying no Russian called me a gammon, call in response to this, and then he was fucking buzzing from that. And when that buzz sort of was tapering off, then he went on Substack, presumably. And he hit me again, boss, hit me again. And he gave him the line again and he got the like again. I mean, there's no love icon on Substack, but he got the like. And 22 others. You know Russian call me a gammon, I'm just like them, like they've got no fucking trouble with us, like, no, we're fun. You see what it is, right? I don't really want to labour these points. It's frame holding, everything cringe, pro-Ukraine. Sort of like traditional, based, sensible, all the rest of it. It's pro-Russia. Well, he's in this instance the Russian fucking UN role, the guy in head of that. And we'll just look at Vassily. I mean, what is quite funny today is this story that he's flounced. And there's this real fucking echo here, I don't know. If I wasn't religious, then I would say, what is this, a simulation cracking or something? Because Vassily Nebenzya has flounced out of a beer tasting where he was tasting craft ale, but he was presented with a Ukrainian product which had on the label it had a burning Kremlin, and he flounced at that. And this just brings to mind Morgoth being thrown out of the craft ale bar for being a Zigger, which I will tag in at the end there. I've actually done a couple of videos on this because this is very fucking revealing. I don't believe him. I'll just say it in the videos. You can just watch them. I don't believe him. There's another guy who for years, I can't remember his name. He's in that little Brutus scene. Sorry, I can't remember your name. But he's been saying for years that he thinks, what does he call it? He's got a reference for him, which I've never even got. But I asked him, what the fuck is this? I don't understand the reference. And he said, well, he just thinks he's just full of shit. He just sits there and fabricates stuff completely. Like, he just, I can't even remember the name. Sorry. Can't remember your name, and I can't remember the name that you reference him to. But he thinks that he's full of shit, and he's just a complete fabricist. That's a word. And I agree with him on this, at least. I just think he makes shit up for his essay. We've seen him lie. You've seen him fucking lie all the time. Never express an opinion. Oh, no. He fucking lies to his alleged friend, Millennial. I was in the best case possible, so I'm going to say that. He fucking lies all the time. So he's got no credibility with that, and I just think he knocks up content. And I think he lied about having a conversation with the old lady in his street. I mean, on that Hope Not Hate article, it's saying his neighbours described him as a recluse. And there he is having conversations that just happen to fit in with the objectives of a Russian active measures operation. Central casting. I just spoke to an old lady and she's worried about getting a slow coughing death, all the fucking rest of it. I don't think it happened. And I'm not convinced that I think it probably did happen, something like him getting thrown out of a pub for being a Zigger. But I don't think it happened like the way he said it. And I'll put that in the videos at the end. I just think he's full of shit. And then the next year, this is the key point, the next year on Millennial, he's got a little cozy story. He's got a little show opener. Well, I haven't seen her again. And the tables are turned. And needless to say, I had the fucking last laugh. Like, very fucking convenient, isn't it? Very convenient. Anyway, well, Vassily Nebenzya has been... he wasn't thrown out, but he flounced about craft ale. And we'll just look at a little bit about Vassily Nebenzya, because I think that they've got a lot in common. Number one, butcher denial. So there you go. I mean, there's number one there, because Morgoth's Review and Endeavour done videos on this. They ran narrative cover for the Butcher Massacre. I am fucking certain of that fact. There is no way that these two fucking news cycle addicted Charlies on April the 3rd, when that story broke on it was actually March the 31st, that story broke. It was all over the fucking news in the subsequent 2 to 3 days of the biggest massacre in Europe since Srebrenica and all the fucking horrors of occupation, and none of them have ever mentioned it at any fucking point in 4 years plus. Never mentioned it. Oh, it just never really crossed my mind. Like, you fucking lying sack of shit. A lot of you. My mind, like, you. I'm getting angry now. I can't help it. But still, they did their part because they ran that fucking video. Oh, wag the dog, all fake news. It's so on the nose. I fucking can't believe it. Like, oh, fucking great. Well, you're right on the fucking nose with Vassily Nebenzya again, aren't you? Because here we go, butcher denial. After the Butcher Massacre was exposed in April 2022, Nebenzya claimed the bodies shown in the videos were not there when Russian forces withdrew. See, I know people who were in fucking Butcher at this fucking time. Well, I'm not going to get into it again because I've talked about it before. I've got no fucking patience with it. Just leave it at that. This was contradicted by satellite imagery showing bodies in the same positions while Russian forces still controlled the area. I mean, fucking, let's move on. 2, biological weapons claims. He helped push the Russian claim that Ukraine, with US support, was involved in biological weapons activity. He also, there's another quote somewhere. He was pushing the fucking mosquitoes line. Where is it? Somewhere on here. He was saying that Ukraine is creating, weaponized mosquitoes. Combat mosquitoes. Here we go. He has been accused by Western and Ukrainian officials of spreading disinformation, just like Morgoth's Review, including claims about Ukrainian dirty bombs and combat mosquitoes, and accusing Ukrainian forces of using civilian infrastructure to shield military activity. Well, that's the sort of thing they say when they just bomb fucking, Marshukta buses. Was there a fucking Patriot missile on a fucking Marshukta bus? And all the others. I'll get into it here. Yeah, I mean, he's just a piece of shit, to be honest with you. But it's all just like absolutely on the nail, pro-Kremlin. What is it he said about the war? He said that, Russia will continue until its aims were met. In January 2023, he said Russia's military action could only stop when the threat from Ukraine and alleged discrimination against Russian speakers ended. That's what Stalin said when he went into Poland. Oh my God, discrimination against Russian speakers. Otherwise, he said Moscow would get what it wanted militarily. How are you doing there, Vassily? You'll be there today, presumably. I don't know, you work for the UN, so maybe not. But how are your pals doing in fucking Moscow 4 years on? I mean, it goes on. In simple terms, Nebenzya is controversial because he's one of the main official voices presenting Russia's UN-level defence of the invasion of Ukraine, including denial of Russian responsibility for atrocities, claims about Ukrainian Nazism. Well, a bit like Morgoth again when he fetched for the Jewish MMA athlete. Oh no, hell, he's evil, oh no, this is terrible, like, oh no. Who had been training with Akhmat, and he got arrested in the opening couple of days of the invasion, and he got tuned up in a fucking prison cell. Quite unpleasant, really, isn't it? Shit happens. Quite a lot fucking worse was happening in Butcher, which you and your little fucking pal ran cover for. But again, never mentioned it. Millennial Woes, never mentioned it. Academic Agent, never mentioned it. Isn't it funny how all these people have never mentioned the biggest fucking massacre of civilians to occur since Srebrenica? But they're all addicted to news sites. It doesn't make sense. How come they never mentioned it when it was all over the fucking news when they bombed that children's hospital? Well, that's weird. For 3 weeks, it just unexisted. Didn't even like, not even like refute it. There was nothing. It just, whoop, no. Because they're scared. Because they don't want to make the donations stop. And that's what it's always been with these fuckers. They are lining their pockets. They have been lining their pockets. And now, specifically with Morgoth's review and his little fucking pal, they're shitting themselves. Because they're fucking guilty. Well, there you go. Bit of a rant, but go better out than in. It's like when Morgoth went into the fucking, what he claimed was a hipster bar. It probably wasn't.
Because of my politics. And it was like, I mean, it's a funny story that I could go into, but it
wasn't your politics insofar as, you know, nationalism or whatever, was it? It was about, was it not about the
yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, you tell the story. Yeah,
what he claimed was a hipster bar probably wasn't, but whatever. When he claimed that there was, she was short and fat and she had like red hair, like dyed prosthetic red hair, and she had piercings and tattoos. It's almost like she's come straight out of Central Casting, isn't it?
And this, I could look at her. I just looked at her, and she had like bright red hair. She had the piercings. She was fat.
Almost like she's come straight out of Central Casting, isn't it? See, I just don't believe him at all. I think, well, he is a liar. He's fucking clear he's a liar. He's a proven liar. So I kind of think all his anecdotes I treat with, well, I'm very dubious about. And in that anecdote, you had the Central Casting kind of like short and fat and fucking tattooed and fucking had dyed red prosthetic hair, like piercings and tattoos. You know, maybe.
I got talking to a couple of fellas at the bar, just general chat. And it got on to the Ukraine kind of thing. And my general point was that the West had provoked Putin. And it got on to the Ukraine kind of thing. And my general point was that the West had provoked Putin.
Maybe. He went out and he had a fucking few beers on his own, like the fat little schlub he is. And he found that his echo chamber patter didn't really sit well with the fucking normies, because they're just like, what the fuck? No, Putin's a piece of shit. He's fucking murdering people. No, we don't like this. Oh no, Putin's protecting his people. Oh, West provoked Putin. Oh, are we going to freeze because of this? Oh no. He did his echo chamber patter and they were like, mate, just fuck off. And I genuinely, well, I mean, I don't know, but I really wouldn't be surprised if that's how it went down. And I just think he respun it, because as I say, I just don't believe him. If someone's proven themselves to be a liar habitually, which he has, then, you know, you can't really believe anything else they say. So I think it's quite possible he went into a normal fucking bar, he had a few beers, and they've just said, get the fuck out, mate. Go on, fuck off. Get the fuck out before you have a fucking problem. Go on, fuck off, sling your hook. But then he's respinning it. Oh, and she was mother henning everyone, and she fucking hated what I was saying. I mean, maybe. But don't believe him. I don't believe him, and I think it's quite likely is if you went into quite a lot of just normal fucking pubs in Britain, and you came out with that shit, and this would have been in this was in the first year, wasn't it? This was December 2022. So, you know, this was when, you know, this stuff was the Butcher massacre, which you've always ignored and you've never mentioned in any context, while kvetching about fucking Semites and Iranians and all the rest of it and Chinese bridges. You know, maybe these people aren't like you. Maybe they do give a shit about women and children being fucking murdered. Maybe they do give a shit about, like, multi-generational rape happening, gang rape happening by fucking Russian soldiers against European citizens. You don't give a shit about it. I understand that. Fair enough. It white pills you, that operation happening and being carried out, and you will just fucking obfuscate it. Maybe these people don't. So maybe you went into a fucking normal, like, working man's club up in fucking Benwell, and they're just like, fucking sling your hook, mate, you fucking piece of shit. I'll fucking Dia's like, this is a pretty poor accent, wasn't it? I fucking, can you do a fucking Geordie accent, like, can you do an aggressive Geordie accent? Because Geordies, in my experience, are alright. Whatever. They fucking put it on you and drove you out of the fucking pub. And you skulked off, and then you felt fucking stupid about it, so you had to rebrand it. And oh, she was short and fat and she had red hair and tattoos and fucking fucking lying sack of shit, mate. If you expose yourself as a liar like you have done, this is it. Like you just, I can't take a word you say seriously. So when you come out with that, I think this is quite possible. Don't know. I can't know. And then there was a reprise, wasn't there, the next year, and he went back on the fucking Griftathon, and he had, oh, look at this. Oh, I've got a little update. And it was his little opener. It was literally his fucking opener. He was like, oh, I haven't seen her again. Like, I haven't seen her again, and she's in like a Weatherspoons or something. And it's like, oh, the mighty have fallen. You're down to my level now. Needless to say, I had the last laugh. Yeah, it's all very convenient. It's a bit like your whiskey posts, this, isn't it? It's calculated. Very calculated, you know, to back up your branding. Okay, well, I think this is an interesting little example of a wider tactic that, well, Russia is quite open about, and this is basically funding all sides of the quote-unquote extreme political spectrum in the West in order to, well, basically promote Russian interests. And I mean, we'll start with Morgoth's review, who, if you're familiar with the channel, I'm sure you would have heard of before. So let's get straight to it. And this is from my report, Morgoth's War, which is on Substack. Just a very short little entry post here we'll just go through today. This is on the subject of Maxim Rindonsky. And, well, we'll just present it as Morgoth has. So he's presenting this, and we'll just read the tweets that he presents to his 12,000 readers. Russian MMA fighter Maxim Rindonsky was captured by Ukrainian forces. It's a horrifying video of him being tortured. He got tuned up. I will not post it, but it's becoming a big story in Russia. Authentic Ukrainian war crimes. I want you to think about those two words here. War crimes, this is what Morgoth is reporting here, are now being used to justify escalating the war. And here's a couple of examples on the right, which you can see. And this is Morgoth. He steps in here, wagging his fat little finger. The problem with reducing everything to entertainment is that you need to keep increasing the torture, porn and gore to keep people invested in the narrative. Okay, and just to be clear, because I know there'll be some fucking moron who'll be going, actually, he's not supporting this. What he's done, I mean, you have to understand the context here. Morgoth has not mentioned a single Russian war crime in 4 years of war. And here he is, he's foregrounding this story. His little commentary here is just fluff. This is just fluff to embed the story. And, you know, the underlying context of the story is, quote, Ukrainians commit war crimes. And this is escalating the conflict. So Ukrainians are being blamed here. I mean, what's happened here? A guy got fucking tuned up. A fucking fifth column who has trained with Akhmat, who are currently operating in Bucha region. And all this will be known, because this was on the 6th of March, right? So, you know, they understand, military intelligence understand what's going on in occupied Ukraine at this point. And they understand that Akhmat are operating there. And there's this fucking little weasel who's always like palling around with fucking people in Lugansk and Donetsk, openly fucking making pro-Russian statements on his fucking social media, and he's trained with Akhmat, and he's getting tuned up. I mean, it's quite unpleasant, but, you know, as I said, in the scale of human suffering, when you compare it to the war crimes that Morgoth completely unexists to the point of being obtuse. I mean, they all are at this point. It's obfuscation onto such an absurd scale. I really don't feel I need to repeat it further. I mean, this is what he does. But here he is, foregrounding this story here, and there's the subtext about Ukrainian war crimes, escalating the conflict. So Russia is now, you know, that they have less, well, they don't have any fucking agency with any of these people because they're always the victim, right? But all his fluff does is just there to hold the peace, to hold it, to present it. And, you know, it's just in the complete, you have to look at the isolation of it compared to any, you know, actual Russian war crimes. So, you know, I do have to explain this because, as I say, someone will go, no. Well, you know, if this is the means to delude yourself further about these people and for them to, you know, stay in your head and send them money for whiskey, well, okay, if that's what you want to do. Like, I mean, I'll just read the text. First thing in the morning and back to the information laundering grindstone. this time presenting the one-sided story of a, quote, Russian soldier who was allegedly captured and tortured by Ukrainian forces. Firstly, Rindonsky is a Ukrainian-born Jew, not Russian. He was openly pro-Russia and had trained with Akhmat, the Chechen security services, regularly visited occupied Ukraine, quote, Russian republics, and was imprisoned at the outset of the war for being a sympathizer. It's interesting how simpatico Morgoth is here with another pro-Kremlin voice, World Socialist website. Here we can see two different political peers being employed by Moscow, information laundering the same story. So you've had Morgoth doing it, basically saying, oh my God, well, he's repeating this Clint Elrich, whoever that is, who's basically saying that Ukraine are committing war crimes, presented without comment. And here Morgoth's saying, oh, you know, and he's presenting the picture, Rindonsky, he a good boy, he didn't do nothing, smiling, looks like a nice young man, all the rest of it. You know, it is, as I go on to say, it's like the "here, good boy, he didn't do nothing" picture that you kind of see presented around, Western media at various points. Anyway, we'll see what World Socialist website has to say about it. Ukrainian neo-Nazis torture Jewish anti-war MMA athlete by Jason Melanovsky. It's an interesting name. Videos reportedly showing the capture and torture of a Ukrainian mixed martial arts athlete, Maxim Rindonsky, by Ukrainian neo-Nazis have appeared on Telegram. Rindonsky, a three-time world medalist in the wrestling sport Sambo, is seen in the videos with a severe cut to the head while being shouted at by his kidnappers. A photo also appears of Rindonsky with severe injuries to his face. In both the video and picture posted to Telegram, the top of Rindonsky's head remains covered, and he was only identified through his notable tattoos, including a Jewish Star of David symbol on his left knee. Rindonsky apparently became a target for Ukraine's various far-right political forces after visiting the separatist-controlled Lugansk People's Republic and Donetsk People's Republic in eastern Ukraine. He had trained at an MMA gym in Chechnya along with Russian athletes prior to Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. He did a bit more than that. He basically did masterclasses, I believe, for literally for Akhmat. You know, hey, we've got a special guest today. Here's Maxim Rindonsky. In addition, he is Jewish and had posted anti-war messages to his Twitch social media channel in recent weeks, further angering Ukraine's far-right political forces. The capture and torture of Rindonsky points to an increasingly violent political situation within Ukraine, where the country's NATO-backed right-wing forces are now using the war with Russia to assassinate and terrorize political enemies and supposed subversives, undermining Kiev's, well, Morgoth will approve of that spelling, war effort. So there you go. And there's a picture of Maxim Rindonsky palling around with some Chechen with his Star of David flashing up on his left knee. So there you go. So continuing from the article, this is particularly gross when one considers Rindonsky's affiliation extends to training with Akhmat, members of which were operating in the Bucha region, carrying out torture and murder of civilians around this very time. The photo presented to Morgoth's readers is similar to that of the "He a good boy" image that often accompanies news reports of a third world ascended terrorist in the West. It's also interesting to note that aside from kvetching for Chechen military assisters like Maxim, Morgoth has kept a monk-like vow of silence on every single Russian war crime in Ukraine for over 4 years now. But this time, to present a quote-unquote Russian as a victim, he wades in. So there you go. He will point to people saying Ukrainian war crimes in Ukraine. But total silence. And when he is, it's just presenting some, Jewish pro-Russian guy who's trained with literally Akhmat, who are carrying out, going door to door and, around this time dragging people off into the street, taking them down to the industrial estate, beating them, interrogating them, putting them in a ditch and shooting them. Morgoth won't talk about that. He won't ever mention that in 4 years. Bucha does not exist in Morgoth's timeline anywhere. And that's on every single platform. This just tells you what he is. He's a Russian asset. Not a particularly big one. But, he's on a spreadsheet somewhere and he's being paid. That's my supposition. If he hasn't, then he's just a committed ideological zigger. And he's committed to the point where he will refuse to even indulge his paranoia and, you know, do a little high guard flex here and there and, you know, feign neutrality by mentioning, you know, massacres like Bucha. Like I say, civilians getting tortured, beaten, put lit cigarettes on them, terrible things, you know, gang rape happening. You know, that doesn't get talked about. But this fucker who goes off to fucking Chechnya and trains the fucking Chechen special forces and is literal fucking, he's on literally in the opening weeks of the war, he's fucking saying, oh, we don't need this war, oh, fucking hell, blah, 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 you know, what's going on? We're all friends, guys, pro-Russian sympathy. I mean, it's probably quite unpleasant. I mean, I'm sure it's not, you know, it's not pleasant. I'm not saying if he got beaten by a load of people, that's not very nice, but, you know, when you look at the scale of human suffering around this time and the total blanket silence that the likes of Morgoth, not just Morgoth, all of them, in Dissident Right, Bucha doesn't exist to them. Doesn't exist. And that tells you what they are. They're Russian assets. So, there you go. You just read the rest of the essay. I'll stick a link in. It's all there in black and white, what these people are. Well, this guy specifically. So there you go. Maxim Radonsky, Morgoth kvetches again. Okay, and just to tag in at the end, just in case you're wondering what happened to Maxim Radonsky, he went off to Russia, of all places, and he wants to become a citizen of the Russian Federation. Well, there we go, what are the chances? Well, old Morgoth, to be fair, he was considering this, wasn't he? He was floating this one. Well, he was asking for a friend. Well, I know people in real life that would seriously consider it. Yeah, is that the guy you fucking look in the mirror and shave? Well, you don't shave, do you? Maybe you should. Actually, I bet he fucking does now. So that'll be the first thing he fucking did after that Hope Not Hate article. Went upstairs and he fucking whipped that beard off sharp. Fucking predictable character. But anyway,
I don't know when I'll be back, but I think I will someday.
It could very well be that I'm off to Russia.
Well,
I can't see it. I'm too old for those. My backpacking days are over. But you never know how bad it's just such a clown show in England now. It's so depressing. But I haven't got any plans to move anywhere for a moment.